This is a Ben Frank Connection presentation.
Hello.
What's up? What's happening?
Hi there.
We're back.
Thanks for joining us. It's a brand new edition of the Opinion City Podcast. I'm your host, King Ralph. He is my co-host. He is Parmesan.
Boom.
Sean, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, man? Another episode. We're back again.
Yeah.
Sundays are for fun days, and that's what today is.
And we've got a great episode today. We got a great guest. Make sure that you stay tuned till the end so that you check out our main event top 5.
Yes.
We've got another great top 5 coming today.
A doozy.
But before we get started, a couple things to take care of. Number one, Happy Mother's Day!
Yeah! Hey!
I pity the fool who don't take their mother. I pity the fool. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers
moms
out there.
Yes, yes.
If you are watching this podcast and you are a mother, thank you. If you are watching this podcast and you are not a mother and you can call your mother, give her a call and say, hey, I'm watching a really cool podcast for Mother's Day.
Right.
All right. We also want to thank our front row members over on Patreon. That's Vadino93 and Adam the Guy.
Yep.
If you are not a Patreon, why are you not a Patreon? We've got
what are you doing?
Awesome stuff for you. So head over to patreon.com/Opinion City Pod and get right on that because there's great things over there, great rewards. You get Wrestling with Life 5 days early as well.
Yes.
So hop on over there for that. But we have got a great episode today. Before we get into that, just a few things. If you do want to support us, there are 3 quick and easy ways. Number 1, hit that like button. Let us know that you like what we're doing because that is always a huge help for us.
Hit those thumbs up.
Hit that subscribe button. Smash
it.
Smash it. Listen, get your mother, the 2 of you together, just elbow drop that subscribe button so you don't miss anything we're doing. And of course, hit that share button so everyone knows what you know, that you love the Opinion City Podcast, and let them know as well.
Everyone.
If you'd like to take that a step further, guys, we have merch.
Get the merch. Get a fanny pack. You know you want one.
Look, we've got that beautiful fanny pack going. We've got all kinds of other great merch. The link is down in the description. You can check that out. Of course, follow us at Opinion City Pod to find out everything we're doing here at Opinion City. Follow us at Ben Frank Connect to find out everything we're doing with the Ben Frank Connect. That includes Opinion City. That includes Witchcrafts by Lily. That includes Wrestling with Life. That includes Raz and Steven and their AEW Dynamite post shows. Just follow us over there for all the Ben Frank Connect stuff. And then finally, and most importantly, as you will see across the bottom of the screen, you will see banners running that have our guests' information. Please follow and support our guests because that's what we're here for.
Important as we are.
We're here for our guests. We want everybody to like and follow our guests and support everything that they do.
Indeed.
All right, Sean, with that, why don't you let us know who we're talking to today, buddy? Who do we got?
We got a doozy, a person I've been following for many a year. He is a pro wrestler and motion caption artist, Tony Chini.
Hey.
What's going on, guys?
What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Be on today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Start off the podcast by saying Happy Mother's Day to every mother that's watching, everybody who has a mother, everybody, and of course to my own mother who might be watching this right now or might be watching this later. So happy Mother's Day to you as well.
All right, perfect.
And on that note, I'm going to say Happy Mother's Day to my mother as well.
Mine
who's probably
same.
Watching Netflix. Definitely not watching this, but probably watching Netflix.
Right.
So, happy Mother's Day.
Yes, indeed.
All right, so let's just jump right in here. We're excited to have you on the show today. So why don't you tell, for those of our viewers who may be unaware, tell us a little bit about who Tony Chini is.
Well, Tony Chini, man. Tony Chini's been wrestling for 7 years now. Well, he started training 7 years ago, started wrestling 6 years ago. Tony Chini loves wrestling. I mean, he's loved wrestling all his life. 2004, he started watching. I say he as if he's a different person. but it really is. You know what I mean? You bring out Tony Chini, it's a different side of me. It's so much fun to bring it out. You know what I mean? Even this day, I just recently did a match on Cinco de Mayo. Had a blast. You know what I mean? They came out with a piñata of me. I freaked out. It was
nice.
It was a fantastic time. You know what I mean? Tony Chini loves professional wrestling, and there's not a lot more you need to know than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's still going.
Right. So you trained under the tutelage of ECW legend 911 and his son Big F and Vin. What was that experience like, getting to learn from such a legend who you were actually at a wedding with last night?
That's right. Yep. I was actually at a friend of mine's wedding, and 911 just so happened to be there with Big Vin. You know what I mean? And it's one of those moments I was telling you before we came on air. But you would think that because I know him now, I've trained with him, everything, that you wouldn't get that feeling, like you're a little kid, but you do. You know what I mean? You see him there, it's like, wow, man, it's 911. Take that picture. He knows he's got to put the hand on the throat, do the choke slam.
Right.
He knows I'm still a fan. You know what I mean? And it's just fun, But like training with them I met Big Al just really off of luck. I was with my ex-girlfriend at the time, and we were setting up in a room, like a VFW, for her grandfather's birthday. And next door was the bar, and they were doing karaoke. I go over there, and I really enjoy karaoke, so I went over to sign up to do a song, and we signed up, and the person before us goes on. It's this big dude, looks scary, you know what I mean? And I'm looking at this guy, and I'm like, why does this guy look so familiar? Like, have I seen this guy around town? Like,
yeah,
this guy, he looks like he could be a wrestler, but I doubt I'm just going to see a wrestler here at this VFW when there's not a wrestling show, you know what I mean? All of a sudden, he comes up to me, and I'm wearing a Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt, and he comes up to me and he says, "Hey, I've wrestled that guy." And he walks away. And now they're calling me up to go sing, and I'm like, oh, Jesus. Now I'm terrified. You know what I mean? And then on my way up, I hear somebody say 911. And I'm like, oh, my God. So I go, finished my song. I went over, spoke to him. Nicest guy. We kept in touch. I actually kept going to a different place for karaoke, and he was at that place all the time, too. So we keep seeing each other. And eventually, him and his son opened up a school, and he called me over and said, "Hey, we know we're opening up the school. We know how much you love wrestling. We want you to be part of the school and learn." And I was really honest at the time. I wasn't making a lot of money, and I told him, I really don't have money to pay for this training. I'd love to do this. This is, something that I love to do, but I just can't. And he made sure it happened, even though I didn't have that. I did everything I could. Just cleaning the school and coming in early, leaving late. Putting up flyers, taking pictures, editing videos, whatever I could do just to earn the training. They gave me the opportunity of a lifetime, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't be able to do all this stuff that we're talking about today, like the wrestling code and working with legends and doing all this stuff without Big Al and Big Vin, Big Al being 911. And, if they're ever watching this, I just want to say thank you to them too, because man, I literally owe my whole life to them, because like I was saying in the beginning of this, Tony Chini's, the kid who grew up and loved professional wrestling his whole life. And when I was a kid, I never knew what wrestling school was or anything like that. I kind of just thought that wrestlers were just, set people, that that skill, that had that talent, and other wrestlers had to find people to recruit, you know what I mean? And I never would have thought that would have actually happened to me in my life. You know what I mean? Where a wrestler really came to me and was like, "Hey, I know you. Let's get you in the ring."
Yeah. It's incredible to think about just the happenstance of where you're at now, and it all started because you saw a guy at karaoke. That's insane to think about.
Yep. Absolutely. I always say karaoke started my wrestling career.
Nice. Perfect.
Very cool. So most people do recognize you from, of course, being on Grimm's Toy Show. So how and when did you get involved with GTS?
So the school, unfortunately, didn't last very long. There weren't a lot of people in the area that, just signed up, and it just wasn't the right time for it, I guess. So unfortunately, the school had to close at some point. It was about a year where it was open, a strong year. And, we had some trainees, we had some people in there, and I still wanted to keep it going. You know what I mean? So eventually, out of all the people, Dalton found me online because he found out that I lived really close to him, and he doesn't like, we didn't know each other or anything. Like, he just saw that I lived close. He saw that I was training wrestling, and I was at this time I was posting like some videos, kind of cutting promos of the delivery boy, my character, trying to just put content out there because now I have this training. I have nothing to do with this training, so now it's time to develop a character. So I'm putting these videos out there. Boom, boom, boom. Dalton hits me up. He says, "Hey," basically he says, "Hey, I need a ride to GTS, and I see that you live close to me. I see you do wrestling." I'm like, "Well, this sounds like a good opportunity for me to get my foot in the door for the first time at a place." So I went with him, and really, luckily, to be honest, it's a matter sometimes with GTS. Because it's like they film, and it's just kind of depends on who shows up and what they're going to film.
Right.
So that day, I was in the right place at the right time. I brought my delivery boy shirt that I had made, and I brought a box, and hey, I know some stuff. I trained, and he said, "All right, show me what you know." I go in the ring, showed him, I know the basics. I know enough to get through a match. Okay, you're wrestling me for the Intercontinental Championship.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay. So that was my first match, not in front of a crowd, but my first putting together a match from to finish, and really being in there and acting with it, and like really putting on the performance of it. Like the performance aspect of wrestling is something that through the last couple of years that I've really grown to love. And, just being able to do that delivery boy character is all performance, you know what I mean? So, and I also thought of that because at the time, like I said, I only had the basics of training. I wanted to be able to have something that I could fall behind. So that character was something that I could fall behind. I don't have to do too much yet. And once I got better and better, I was speaking to you before about continuing my training elsewhere. Once I was able to do that, then I extended my character and made it more,
How many different characters did you have in GTS?
Oh man. I mean, like there were sometimes like one-off characters, like I did like Ghostface once and like Michael Myers and stuff like that. But like repeat characters is Tony Chini, of course. Lucha La Raza. I loved doing Lucha La Raza. I got to manage Tito Santana as Lucha.
Oh, nice.
I got to get hit by Kane from the Sandman as Lucha La Raza.
That's awesome.
Really cool stuff. And I got to do Slender Man a lot. And
oh yeah, I remember that time distinctly because I was watching that the whole year because I wanted to know who was behind the mask.
Oh, I loved doing Slenderman. Sometimes they would have to put somebody else in it, but like he would choose me a lot because like I really took it seriously. He wanted it to be the Undertaker of GTS, so like the Undertaker's one of my top favorite wrestlers of all time. And I was just like, you know what, I could definitely do this. So I went full out. Because of Slender Man, I've gotten to have casket matches.
Nice.
And just crazy, stuff, and do tombstone pile drivers and cool, just it's crazy, man. I love doing fun stuff like that. That's why I like GTS.
Yeah.
So this idea of, character development and creating characters, things like that, is that something that comes very easy to you? Is it something that you tend to like maybe collab with others on and come up with ideas, or, how does that work for you? And is it something that comes easy?
That's a really good question. So it's funny because I feel like I am really good with character development as far as like if I were to talk with somebody else and, kind of be like, hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you try this? I think, this crowd would enjoy seeing you do this, that kind of stuff. But, and even if I put myself in a character like Starman or Slenderman or, any of those Lucha La Raza, any of those characters, like I feel like it's kind of easier for me to think of things. But when it comes to Tony Chini, sometimes I really get it into my head. There's like a block because that's me. It's without the mask. It's without the extra persona. There's a piece of me. So what would I do in that situation? I could think of what he would do or what I would think that he would do, but what would I do? It comes easy in certain aspects, and sometimes like when I was just telling you before about I had that Cinco de Mayo match.
Yeah,
it was so much fun. You know what I mean? We just had fun with it, and I was supposed to be the antagonist. The and coming into the Cinco de Mayo fest, where's the chicken parm, or where's the cannoli?
Right.
I saw the green, white, and red. I got confused, but I want to do everything. Number one, to not be racist. That's my
of course.
So I had to go around that. So what would Tony Chini do? Why is Tony Chini mad? Why is Tony Chini here? Tony Chini's mad because, number one, he got confused. He saw the green, white, and red. He thought it was an Italian festival. He wanted chicken parm. Number two, Tony Chini has a weak stomach. That was the thing. Tony Chini can't handle the spicy foods, the hot sauce and all that.
Right.
So at some point in the match, my opponent opens my mouth and pours hot sauce into it.
Oh, jeez.
Because it's like, and then he smashes the piñata over my back, and it's fun.
Ugh.
I'm getting mine now. I'm being that antagonist, but I know better than to. I don't need to win that situation. That's
right.
Tony Chini needs to lose and let somebody else, have that moment, and it's fun, and I love that kind of stuff. I feel like it's the funny thing is I feel like I'm better at planning predicaments where I lose,
right,
where I win.
That's all right. Cool. So where did this all begin for you? You sort of mentioned it a little bit earlier, but is there a specific moment or match that really you watched growing up that was like, that's the one, that's the match that got me hooked?
Yeah, actually. When I started watching, it was 2004, and I was already really into wrestling, and Eddie Guerrero was my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the time when I first started watching, it was January 2004. So it's
okay.
So you have to think of it. This is the rise of Eddie Guerrero to the WWE Championship.
Yeah.
So WWE, in a sense, kind of forced me as a child to love Eddie Guerrero.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first thing I'm seeing on television of this product, and now this is the guy.
Right.
So, guy. But the funny part is that I love Eddie Guerrero versus Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 20.
Mm-hmm.
Moment where I saw that got me to be like, oh my god, I want to do this, was the main event with Shawn Michaels, Chris Benoit, Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
That was incredible. It changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
There was the moment in that match where I really was captivated. It was the first time I'd ever seen something like this, because I'm only a couple months into watching at this point.
Right.
Was when Shawn Michaels climbed to the top rope and did the moonsault to both of them to the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Now something like that, you see it at every indie show you go to, but at the time it was like, oh my god,
yeah,
that was the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. I have to be a part of this.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Not for nothing, but I was there at WrestleMania 20 for all of that. It was incredible. And it's funny that you mentioned the moonsault, because you look at moves like that and you think of now we think of, like you said, you see it at every indie show, but this was someone of the level of Shawn Michaels. So this was, we always think of Shawn Michaels as, the showstopper, Mr. WrestleMania, and, just pulling out these things that, you think are incredibly dangerous at the time. And it's just incredible to see someone like that at that level, pull that move out.
Yeah.
And when you really think about it, he only pulled out those moonsaults on the big matches.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Ric Flair, Undertaker, the main event for the World Heavyweight title, Triple H. Those are the guys he pulled out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we're talking about some WrestleMania 20 matches, but what have been some of your favorite matches that you've had in your career so far?
Well, I mean, I keep talking about it, but that Cinco de Mayo match was such a fun time, and I love the reaction of people. Because when you go to a festival like that, it's not wrestling fans going to buy tickets to a wrestling show.
Yeah,
it's people at a festival and they're seeing wrestling there. It could be their first time ever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you have to think of, how am I going to captivate these people? They might not buy the moonsault, but they'll buy the hot sauce.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They understand, oh, this guy was just on the microphone talking down this event, saying how he can't handle spicy foods. Now, 10 minutes later, this guy's pouring hot sauce in his mouth. I get it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Why am I doing a moonsault, though? There's what's the build up to that moonsault? It looks right. They might be like, wow, that guy did a moonsault. It looks really cool when that guy did a moonsault, but I'd rather them say Tony Chini got his butt kicked, because they'll remember my name. They'll remember they'll remember the character, as opposed to that guy did a moonsault.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, sorry. Cinco de Mayo match. My match with Tony Atlas is one of my favorites.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites because, like, I remember being in the ring. I went, I did my entrance. I'm like, all hyped up, let's go. And then his music hits, and like, it was like, oh,
Right.
goosebumps. This is real. Whoa.
Yeah.
Tony Atlas coming to the ring. I'm the guy in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I'm putting this all together. And it's like, I can't believe this is really happening, So that was one of those moments. And, I mean, man, like those are really like two matches right now in my mind that are just standing out. You know what I mean? Just like, I like having fun matches. I like having like legends like that and just having experiences. I got to wrestle Robbie E on GTS.
Oh, nice.
And he was, at the time, he was doing a gimmick where he was like copying people on the roster.
Yeah.
So I wrestled him. He thought he was Grim. So
nice.
It was fun, but I got to win. I got to beat.
Right.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not trying to shame anybody. I'm not. But to have Robbie E think that he's Grim.
yeah, right. Yeah,
Mr. Chiseled like stone over here.
Yeah,
I'm Grim. Like,
I wrestled him with a pillow in his shirt.
Nice. That's even better.
great.
All right, so let's talk about the other side. You upcoming video game called The Wrestling Code.
Oh, yeah.
And as we know, you did the motion capture for the video game as well as you are a playable character. So how do you get involved with doing the motion capture for a wrestling game?
Yeah, so I want to make this clear right off the bat that I'm not the only motion capture artist. There's like, a lot of people that have
Of course.
a lot of work. Alec Price is one of them.
Oh, cool.
I'm trying to think of some other people. Teddy Goods have put in some work. Beer City Bruiser, I know, has done some stuff for us. So like, there's a lot of people that have helped out. But I've been really fortunate enough to be able to travel with them for a lot of really big projects and a lot of really big names, and be able to kind of be a little extra involved in some things. Like you said, I'm a playable character. I got to do my own promo where got to see my entrance and everything. I got to go to a actual convention where people got to play as me.
Awesome.
And while I was there, you know what I mean? So that was a lot of fun. But getting involved was cool because Grim got announced as a playable character. I don't know. I don't know how he got contacted or anything like that. I think that they just knew about him and they said this is going to be, a sellable character on the game because he has a base. So they put Grim on the game. And when I saw that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to share this game. You know what I mean? I'm going to number one, a good friend of mine is on it. Number two, this is like, if he's on it, that means people might see us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I started sharing it. And then one day I got a message from Virtual Basement and they said, hey, that was a really cool clip on GTS. Keep up the good work. I'm like, okay. They saw me. So, they followed me on Twitter and I was like, all right, this is going good. Keep sharing their stuff. Eventually we actually got to talking, me and him, just kind of friendly. You know what I mean? Like nothing really business. Just, he would just hit me up and we'd just talk and we just kind of became friends. And, all of a sudden he was like, I got a spot and here, here's your contract. So I was like,
that's awesome.
That is crazy. So basically, when that happened, so now this is where the motion capture comes in. They, a couple months later, were going to do their first motion capture set. Their first actual motion capture set was with Enzo.
Wow.
And then they did another one with Muhammad Hassan, but those were not in the ring.
Okay.
Like promos.
Yeah.
So that was not like, it was like Muhammad Hassan did his in a hotel room and did his in like the studio, like the Virtual Basement studio.
Yeah. So
what happened with me was that they were going to New Jersey for their first wrestling moves motion capture.
Oh, okay.
And they hit me up. They said, hey, we're coming to New Jersey. We're already doing this guy, and this guy. We want to do you too. Blah, 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 blah. And I said, okay, great. Who's going to be taking my moves? Oh, we didn't think about that. They didn't have anybody to take anybody's moves.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
So, like, okay, well, light bulb. I could bring somebody to take my moves and then out for the weekend, and I could take the other people's moves.
Right.
And he was like, nice. I was like, yeah, why wouldn't I do it? So, go ahead. I brought Zach Ruby with me. He took my moves. And then I worked with, I think I worked with Luigi Primo, Crowbar, and then Anthony Green.
That's awesome, dude.
Anthony Green was just like maybe a week out of WWE or like a few weeks out of WWE.
Right.
So like this is like his first time getting in the ring since WWE and everything, like which was awesome, you know. And we compared to each other, like, you know, like look wise. People say that I look like him sometimes, so that was cool to get to.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was gonna say it, I think he looks more like you.
Okay, I'll say that. I'll take it. But anyway, there was a move that we did where it was like a pile driver. It was like this really like this kind of intricate pile driver off the ropes and whatever, and pretty well. And he was very impressed with it. And he kind of put me over to, you know, Virtual Basement, said, hey, if you need a guy who's going to be taking your moves, this guy just did very well. So, you know, working my later that night, talking with Virtual Basement, and they're like, how would you like to go to Las Vegas and take Rob Van Dam's moves?
Wow, that's insane.
I'm like, I mean, yeah, I'd love to. And I'm thinking, yeah, oh yeah, take Rob Van Dam's moves in Las Vegas. Okay, yeah, but last time I'm ever gonna see you, I get it. Okay, but nope. You know, all of a sudden we're talking. We got to you know, figure out the travel info, and I'm out in Las Vegas working with Rob Van Dam.
That's crazy, man.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's insane. Yeah. So, so what would you say is probably your favorite part about doing motion capture? What do you like about that?
I mean, getting to sit under the learning trees of so many different people in the industry. You know, like I've always been really big on like being able to branch out and train other places and learn from other people, because like I feel like you learn a lot better that way, as opposed to just staying one place your whole time and only knowing how to wrestle one style and only how to do one thing. You know, you should listen to all other different people's experiences, stories, training advice, and see what works for you so that you can get the best of it. And I've tried to take full advantage of that. You know what I mean? Like if I have any time to talk with somebody, I try to take advantage. Like a kind of a funny story, when we were working with Kurt Angle, we had everything set up at the time. Now we have like a high powered laptop where we run everything on. At the time we had a computer. It was a desktop computer, but it was like really high powered, but it was plugged into the wall and everything. And we were in a hot space. So me and Kurt Angle were doing these moves and everything. All of a sudden, somebody accidentally unplugs the computer.
Oh no. Oh no.
Because I'm in the ring with Kurt, so I thought he was gonna kill me. I was like, you know, because he wasn't like he wasn't mad, but my first thought when he unplugged the thing was like, all right, what is he gonna grab me, German suplex me?
Right.
But what's gonna happen to me here? I'm the one in the ring. So thankfully he was like, all right, yeah, no problem, you know. So they got it booted back up, but it took him about 20 minutes to get booted back up. So I got to sit down for like 20 minutes and talk with Kurt Angle and get advice from Kurt Angle and ask him like, how did you get, like, I asked him like, who did you study to get to the like top spot so fast? Know, and I'll tell you right here, his advice was that what I thought he was going to say was that he studied like, you know, people like Jerry Briscoe and Bob Backlund, you know, because those are like those old school wrestlers. But he said, I studied The Rock. Steve Austin. I studied The Undertaker. Those are the top guys right there. Those are the guys that are making it work. I want to make it work. That's who I'm going to study.
Yeah.
And I was like, that made sense. That made a lot of sense, you know, because it's like, I mean, it's still good to study those older guys and learn, because what's old is new, and you can, you know, turn things into a new product. But if you want to be on top right then and there, you got to look at what's on top. It made a lot of sense.
Yeah. So is the Wrestling Code game out yet, or is it still in development?
So it's still in development.
Okay. Right
now, I haven't done too much motion capture stuff this year for it. I know they have done some stuff, but they're really like kind of they have a lot of motion capture into it right now, so they're trying to wrap up all the other stuff, get a good product, get something out there for people to start playing. Like I said before, we were able to bring a playable demo of the game to a convention. It was a movement demo, so they got to go in the ring as me in the GTS arena, walk around the whole arena, see all the cool stuff, the props, everything. And it's very accurate. You know what I mean? Like all the canvases hanging up and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible.
I've seen some of the clips and videos of them putting out, and the graphics look insane for this game.
Yeah,
absolutely insane.
I'm very proud of it. You know what I mean? I'm very proud of the product, and I really think that when people get to play it, they're going to realize it's worth the wait. But one thing about games nowadays is that they're pushed out so quickly because people wait, and then they get mad about how it comes out. But it's bad when you were pushing them to put it out. It's like, if it's not finished, what do you want to play?
Right. Well, I think that's what happened when they released WWE 2K20. That's why they took a year off to kind of reassess the situation, realize why it went so poorly, and then when they released 22, it was great.
Yeah,
it was great.
In my opinion, what I think is that 2K should do that every year, where like 2K24 comes out, and then instead of a 2K25 coming out, they have like a Battlegrounds 2, and they or they make Crush Hour 2. You know, they bring back like an old game and or make like a brand new type of game that's WWE characters in a different situation,
right?
You know, and then put out a new 2K game, so that it's like, now that 2K game is going to be amazing, but you get something in between that's fun. You know, something you can just pick up and play and have some fun. Like Crush Hour, nobody's putting hours into Crush Hour, but you might want to pick it up and have some fun. And you know, you've played that game. You guys played that game, Crush Hour?
Yeah, Crush Hour, yeah.
That's a fun game to play, but like after about an hour, it's like, all right, I'm done. You know?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I'm not going to want to pick it up again. You know?
Sure. Sure.
That's what I think about it. But you know, who am I?
You're a motion capture artist for the game The Wrestling Code.
That's right.
Or one of many.
Yes. So all right. So when you're not in the ring grappling, or you're not doing motion cap for a video game, what kind of things do you enjoy doing in your spare time?
Well,
if there is any.
Right.
I love professional wrestling. You know, I mean, it's pretty much most of my life. But like, I mean, other than that, I forget if I mentioned it before we started the podcast or earlier about karaoke. I used to love doing karaoke a lot.
Yeah.
I haven't done it in quite some time, but I would love to do it again. I like going out places like Philadelphia, Atlantic City, just hanging out. I don't gamble. I don't drink. So I just like going out and hanging out. I actually like the Lucky Snake Arcade in Atlantic City.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just nice, clean fun. You know what I mean? Just have a good time with some of the boys, and you know, just getting together with people, just hanging out. It's pretty, you know, I'm a pretty basic guy. You know what I mean? Just I like to think about wrestling a lot. You know what I mean?
Right.
I like to think about what I'm gonna do. What's that next move? You know what I mean? And you know, I mean, it's consumed my whole life. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
but I try to do other things and have some fun. You know, I like to eat. I like to go out and have, you know, like good places to eat. Find a good hole in the wall place. I'm one of those kind of guys that likes to find a good hole in the wall. And a big thing about me is I love the flea market.
All right.
Flea market. Love finding cool stuff at the flea market. I don't know, most of this stuff behind me in the flea markets. That's right.
Cool.
That's really cool. Yeah. So, before we get into your top 5, let's talk video games a little bit. So, for instance, what is your console of choice when it comes to video games?
PlayStation 2.
All right. Okay.
Nice. Love it.
Interesting.
Right off. Not
off the bat. No thought process at all. You were like, PS2. That's the one.
I love PlayStation 2. I mean, that was the first console I owned. I grew up on it. I mean, you know, just love me some PlayStation 2. There's so many great games on PS2.
Yeah.
It's like undeniably great.
So yeah, if you look at consoles just in general, and you look at like the lifespan of different consoles, that one is just so consistently good the whole time. Like it's just and a lot of things. I mean, I feel like that was a bit of a resurgence in console gaming when PlayStation 2 came around, because so many people had the PlayStation 2. Like it became this thing. So I feel like that was like a bit of a console resurgence there. And then a lot of things, you know, got built and came after that, you know, based on how popular that was.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like, I like me some PlayStation 3. Like I'm a PlayStation guy, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
But PlayStation 2 is just like, it's just got those games. It was just that era, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
maybe like it might just be a biased thing because I grew up in that era, you know what I mean? But you know, I just think there's something about it like it's just so good. Like it's like when it started getting into the realistic, but it also still had that like not realistic, fun, cartoony feel to it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
No,
video gaming hit a stride at that point. Like it
Yeah.
was very much more of a, I mean, because like I grew up in the 80s, and so I was around for like the Nintendo and the Sega Genesis era. And like that was a big thing back then because, you know, video gaming on home consoles had just kind of really become a thing at the end of the 70s and leading into the 80s now.
Yeah.
And so a lot of kids had video gaming systems growing up in the 80s, but I feel like, you know, it fell off a little bit there to a point. And then PlayStation 2, you know, video gaming as a whole was hitting a stride where people were getting to the point again where kids were like, every kid was having a video game console in their house again. And PlayStation 2, they hit so many notes. Like if you look at like the breadth and the width of video gaming, they hit so many notes from sports games to indie games to anything you could think of. You know, PlayStation 2 really hit all of those notes.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. PlayStation 2 just like it has like the best lifespan as far as like I feel like people of all generations would have fun playing it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The game, there's something for everybody to offer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just like it's just like I said. I think it might just be a bias thing, but I just love it. I even have a Japanese PlayStation 2 because.
Oh really?
Yeah, because I have King of Colosseum 2.
Wow.
Wrestle Kingdom 1 and 2. I have a couple like Japanese PlayStation games.
That's crazy.
That's
How did
super
you
cool.
come across that? Just online? Do you just Google search PS2?
A friend of mine just had it. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
My friend is like a big, or like not just like he doesn't really like wrestling as much. He's just a big gaming guy.
Yeah.
And had to downsize his collection. He asked me if I was interested in Japanese PlayStation 2. I was like, dude, I have Japanese PlayStation 2 games already. Yes,
right.
Japanese PlayStation 2.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
So, what was your favorite game to play as a kid, and what are you currently playing right now?
My favorite game to play as a kid was probably SmackDown Here Comes the Pain.
Nice.
Good choice.
Good choice. Good choice.
I mean, right now it's like I don't know because I kind of want to say I'm playing 2K24, but like I'm not. Like I was like getting into it, and like I was really getting into like Creation Suite because Creation Suite was really good this year.
It's nuts.
And like I started making like I made like I think like if you look up Tony Chini on the Creation Suite for 2K24, I uploaded I think like 17 or 18 different versions of my
Jesus.
And I had some different outfits and stuff, and like so if you go on there you can see like a whole bunch, and then I've put a bunch of other people like GTS people like Zach Ruby,
Right.
The Dark Jester, LTW. I put like a couple other people up there too.
Right.
So and it's funny because like so for my face scan for the Creation Suite, I actually used my face from the wrestling code.
Oh really?
Ooh.
Okay. Smart.
Looks really good.
Yeah, it's sick.
For the other ones, I'm not sure if you saw, like, I just posted a video recently where there's a guy, his name is JAS Customs on Instagram, if anybody wants to look him up. He makes action figures, and he scanned me for an action figure, and he scanned a couple other guys I knew, so I got their face from him and put them into the game.
Smart.
Looks really good.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I'll be looking those up as soon as the show's over because I'm a PlayStation guy and I'm all about 2K24.
Yeah, I was to say once the game came out, I went and visited Ralph the one day, and he was showing me he made 3 different companies. He had the arena done, the wrestlers done, like he did the whole 9 yards. He had everything laid out, and I was like, that's awesome.
My favorite part of the Creation Suite is that you can upload your own logos. So like we do all our graphics in Canva. So I'm like busting out logos in Canva and then uploading logos and making shirts and companies. Like it's just that the Creation Suite, like you said, is very well done this year.
Heck yeah. And that's a really important part of a wrestling video game.
Yeah.
Nowadays is the Creation Suite. And that standards really, I feel like, started kind of getting set around that PlayStation 2 era, like we were talking. Because they started the creative stuff, like in, like, I think Nintendo 64, like maybe No Mercy. I think you might have been able to create people.
Yeah. You were able to create your own guy in WrestleMania 2000, but the problem is because it was so blocky, nothing really looked Good.
You wanted it, and then Here Comes the Pain started getting a little bit better. I remember SmackDown versus Raw. I felt like they kind of downgraded a little bit. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I do.
First SmackDown versus Raw, like it kind of just like started looking cartoony and weird,
Mm-hmm.
and then the better 06, 07, 08, and then it like fell again. But then Create a Move came out in like 09.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. But yeah, like Creation Suite is like such a huge part of wrestling gaming now. Like,
yeah,
if you can't create a bunch of different characters, not just like yourself, but like if you can't create like Godzilla or like an alien,
right.
like people are not happy.
Well, what's crazy about that is that we just saw that one of the biggest like creation guys that is on the 2K, he goes by What's the Status. He got banned from 2K for his creations.
Yeah.
And that caused like an uproar with fans. They're like, why are you banning someone in there who is just good at like, why are you trying to like limit us in our creations? Why can't we just do whatever we want? Because I think he was the first person who was banned for making his creations.
Yeah.
He's back now, but he got banned, which is crazy to me.
That is crazy, you know? And like, I mean, like if he was like doing some stuff like making like people naked on the game or like some
not at all.
Stuff like that, then I understand. But if he's just making really good creations and like maybe downloading like textures of people, like, you know, different tattoos, or it's like, you know, maybe in a sense 2K didn't want people to have that texture or whatever it is, but it's like, you know, they're out there, it's there, people are gonna get it, you know, it is what let people do what they want.
Yeah, and part of the issue, and this goes back to like when you were talking about WWE No Mercy, back then in a lot of the creation suites you were able to make extreme changes to the actual wrestlers in the game, which is something that they got away from, where you have very limited you know, you can change some of their clothing outfits, but beyond that you had very limited options when you know, changing an existing wrestler. And so I think that may have part to do with it, because they got so far away from that. Because if you remember, like No Mercy, like games like that, you could change everything about the wrestler,
everything,
and it was and that was a lot of fun, but they got away from that, and I think that's influenced a lot of where creation suites and things have gone now, because, you know, they have to do so many other things to kind of make up for that. But these days, I mean, you can pretty much download anybody on community creation, even if they're already in the game, and people have done amazing things. Arenas are always my favorite. I always have to look for different and crazy arenas people make, you know, especially when you're trying to play, like, for example, like you said, you know, playing a GTS show. Think about that, playing a GTS show on 2K24, where you can go online, you can download wrestlers, you know, made by people like you can download arenas, you can download all this crazy stuff and just play things that you never thought you'd have a chance to play.
Yeah, I actually, because I don't know if you know, but like GTS has been filming sometimes at the CZW warehouse.
Yes.
So
yes.
I went on and I found a CZW arena that was uploaded, and I just basically stripped it down and made it into a GTS arena, but at CZW's arena.
Oh, nice.
So it's like screen accurate, you know what I mean? Because they're not in the back, something that they're doing. So that got a lot of uploads too. So that was cool. But like, you know, just doing stuff like that, making your own community, like putting like a universe mode together with like imagine if you made like a universe mode with like only people that have been on your podcast,
right?
And like you guys are the general managers or something. Like that would be cool, you know. Like
that's a great idea.
Ralph's gonna do that right after the show. Ralph's gonna go on and just make a whole Opinion City wrestling company all within the game.
Tired for tomorrow.
At least 50 plus people in the roster at this point.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think it's like, what is it? You're our 35th guest now.
You're like 35, yeah, because we didn't. But that's 35 is a pretty good roster.
Pretty good roster number.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's good.
So what? You're a PlayStation guy. So are you still on PlayStation 4? Have you moved to PlayStation 5?
So I'm on PlayStation 4 right now, and that's actually a story, because I had my PS4 and Francesca had her Xbox, and then we moved in together. And at the time, we needed to downsize a little bit, so I had gotten rid of my PS4 for a while. We were on the Xbox, and then recently I found a PS4 at Goodwill. It was like a Spider-Man special edition.
Oh, that's awesome!
And it was only like $40.
Wow,
so
that's insane.
It was the same week 2K came out, so I So I switched my pre-order from Xbox to PlayStation 4. And
Nice.
And now, so my birthday is next month.
Hey.
I have a game store at the flea market I go to. And all throughout the year, I've been giving them little games here and there for credit, store credit. And I'm going to store credit for a PS5 on my birthday.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's so cool. Have you played Spider-Man?
I have not, and I really want to.
Yeah, I've gotten through the main storyline of Spider-Man. I'm like 2 out of 3. I have 2 out of 3 DLCs finished. I just have to finish the third one. I have Miles Morales. I haven't started that yet just because I'm trying to get the DLC on the first one finished. But yeah, that's my eventual goal too. Now that because I went to WrestleMania this year, so that kind of took everything out of me. So now my goal is to start saving up for a PS5. So and it's I mean, a lot of it has to do with Spider-Man too, but at the same time, like we're starting to see a little bit of the end of the life cycle of PS4 because now we're starting to see some games are only coming out on PS5.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to get a little, like certain games.
It's crazy how fast consoles just come and go. Like
and I know PS4 will stay around
Series
forever.
X right now for the Xbox, but that is almost itself is already a relic. Like I think it's only a few years old, but they're already thinking about the next console.
Yeah.
Like, this is out now, but they're already, all right, what's the next one that's going to drop? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's really at this point. I feel like it's just kind of becoming a money grab, and it's because they feel like they could take certain consoles and get more life out of them if they continue to update it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they purposely they want you to buy the new one. So instead of updating 4 here, they're gonna just put games on the PS5 so that I have to buy that PS5.
Mm-hmm.
But little do they know, I'm gonna get my store credit.
That's right. We're gonna cash those credits in, baby.
That's it.
There you go.
So other than wrestling games, because obviously we're gonna get that into your top 5. What is your favorite non-wrestling game?
I gotta look at my shelf over here. All my wrestling games are behind me.
Right.
Oh, jeez.
I have a small shelf of non-wrestling games right over here.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I mean, like if I'm looking at the PS2 shelf right now, like GTA Vice City.
Oh, good call.
Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2.
Oh wow.
Godzilla Destroy All Monsters.
Right.
I mean, dude, like those are all great games. Jaws Unleashed is fun because I love Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, man, out of all those, probably Grand Theft Auto Vice City, to be honest.
Hell yeah. Good choice.
So many hours into that.
Yeah.
Oh, that game. I love driving the motorcycle into the mall.
Yeah.
Such fond memories.
Heck yeah. And the storyline, like Scarface, it's just it's a great game for sure.
If I had to pick a game that was a non-wrestling game, because I have always been like consistently every year I buy the wrestling game. So like that's my thing. But back in the day, I was so hooked on Resident Evil 2.
Okay.
I spent so much time on that game. Like, I don't know what it was because I wasn't like the hugest Resident Evil fan, but 2, for some reason, the storyline just stuck with me. And you essentially had 2 separate games because you could play through as each character and the games were different. So I just got hooked on that for a long time.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I never really got into those games, but I've always wanted to because I love horror.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of like horror aspect to that and everything. And like I've been wanting to try to get more into horror games in general. I have like on deck, I have The Thing for PS2 that I haven't got to play it yet, but I heard that one's pretty intricate.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to trying that. I've been wanting to try the Saw game, but I keep hearing that shit.
Oh,
but like I want to try it because like I don't know, it just seems cool.
So what are you just trying to not die the entire game?
Like I guess you just keep walking into traps and there's
right. It's just the whole game is just you walk into another trap, survive. Walk into another trap, survive. Like that's all every game.
If you ever find this game, and I think it's for the original PlayStation, which of course you would be able to play on PS2, but it's called Parasite Eve. And it is very much like Resident Evil. It's very much set up like Resident Evil, but it's more science fiction horror. You play a police detective, but it's like Resident Evil, but I feel like it's a little more fun because it's got like the sci-fi horror to it.
And you said it's Parasite what?
Parasite Eve.
Parasite Eve. Okay.
Yeah, it's a PS1 game. They came out with a second one, and they kind of ruined the controls on the second one. They tried to make the controls better, and they ended up making it worse. Two is not that good, but the first one's amazing.
I hate when controls on a game, and it's like
the opposite.
You know that the game would be better than the last game if it had just kept the controls the same, or maybe just tweaked like one or two things, like added something. But like no, they just had to change the whole thing left field. I remember when they really first changed like the wrestling video games, like in my like experience, because like I said, the first one I played was Here Comes the Pain.
Right.
Like the controls stayed set like pretty much the same for a while, and then they changed a little bit in like 06, 07, but then 08 it changed like a bunch of things.
Yeah. Oh, that's what brought me out of SVR because I can't do the sticks as the grapple. That throws me off. Yeah. Just give me a simple A B X Y.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought, oh, you can use grapple now with your thumbs, and I'm like, no.
That's one of the things we're trying to pay attention to with like the wrestling code is like controls, like like he wants it to. I mean, obviously you've seen the graphics. The graphics look
amazing.
But like he wants the gameplay to feel like that nice, like old school, like easy to pick up and play style.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the more you play, the more little things you pick up on. Like, oh, I could do that.
Yeah.
Oh, if I click this twice here. Oh, wow, that's different. Like that's the fun thing about the wrestling code. Like even playing just the movement demo without doing any moves, there's so many little different things that you could do.
Right.
We're trying with it, man. Like I sit there, like it might sound like it's not work, but we sit there and we play like all the wrestling games, and we just like pick up like, all right, this sucks. Oh, this was cool.
Right.
So if this whole game sucked, maybe this one feature was cool. Let's see what we could do with it.
Right.
And like that's the fun part about that job too, about doing the motion captures. Like hey, pick this guy's move sets. You know what I mean? Like if I'm like when I got to work with Tajiri, like he said, all right, pick what moves we're doing tomorrow. I get to do it
crazy.
That's fine. You know what I mean? And it's like but that's like we want to make every character to the best that we can.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because like one of the things like even like back when you played Here Comes the Pain, like when you played as Tajiri, you felt like you were playing as Tajiri because like he had his own stance.
Yeah.
He had a lot of his own moves that were specific to him. And like the mist was in the game, like all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Made you feel like you were playing as Tajiri. But now the one problem, like one of the biggest problems with 2K and all the games is that like everybody walks the same. Everybody stands the same. Everybody celebrates the same. Everybody, you know what I mean? Like everybody holds a chair the same. Everybody, there's differences where people do things different. People get into the ring different. People ropes different. People walk differently. People stand there differently, even when they're just not doing anything. And I feel like that's kind of that lost art in wrestling games where everything is just kind of cookie cutter, and then they put those cool moves in there, and then like everything else is just filler.
Right.
And we want it to be totally authentic.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And you guys are getting really good press and coverage for the wrestling code. Now I follow a lot of the YouTube channels that do a lot of coverage mainly on 2K24, and everybody's carrying news stories and picking up stuff about the wrestling code, and everybody has really good things to say about what we're seeing so far. So you guys are getting some really good press for that.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, those are channels that I've watched. You know what I mean? So it's cool when we always joke about it because like we'll do something like we'll be out, and like let's just say like we're just having a good time, and like we like I don't know how to explain this. Like let's just say like something rowdy happens or something like that. We just kind of joke with each other. Like the next morning we're gonna wake up to a YouTube video like, alrighty guys, the next news on the wrestling code: Tony Chini gets arrested at an Applebee's.
I love it.
But it is cool. It's humbling to be on those, on that press and be in the spotlight, and sometimes it's just that guy who's in the ring with Rob Van Dam or Diamond Dallas Page. But I'm cool with that because it's at the end of the day I know the work I'm putting in. And,
right.
know, like when those people buy that game and they get to actually play it, like I'm gonna be so proud to say that, like when you see that, like that move from Rob Van Dam, that super kick, that that anything, pretty much anything, that monkey flip, that was me. That's my animation taking it.
Right.
That angle slam, that's me. You know what I mean? Like the Ultimo Dragon, when you see him lock in the Dragon Sleeper, that's me.
That's
like
cool.
that's one of those things about the wrestling code that I mean, like you can't take that away from me. That I've been able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and proud of that. You know what I mean? For me, that's my WrestleMania. That's my story. That's my WWE Championship. Like being able to do that, and also just to get off track one more time here, with the Ultimo Dragon. Ultimo Dragon was the first character I picked when I got Here Comes the Pain. So
cool.
Here Comes the Pain was the first game I got. Ultimo Dragon's first character I picked. I picked him over and over again to learn how to play the game because I just thought he looked cool because I was still learning about wrestling.
Yeah.
Years later, I get to work with him on a video game, doing his moves. And I got back to the hotel room and I cried. I mean, like, it was just like, this is one of the greatest, craziest moments of my life.
Yeah. I can't imagine being able to get in the ring with like people that you've watched on TV and doing their moves, taking their moves for a game that you're going to be able to play, whenever it comes out. Like just having that experience to me has got to be just mind blowing sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah. You have to really try to keep yourself on track while it's happening.
Yeah.
And you have to appreciate it later though. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So like, you can't suppress it for so long. Like, there's got to be that moment where you mark out and
yeah.
You're like, all right, listen, dude, I got to tell you, man, I grew up watching you. I love you. I appreciate this. I appreciate you. Because at the end of the day, they know that. You know what I mean? As long as you're professional and keep it to that point, and then once it's the appropriate time, be like, listen, man, I'm a huge fan. I appreciate the time you gave me today.
Yeah.
It means a lot to them, too.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So we're about 5 months into 2024. What are some future goals for the rest of the year for you?
Oh, man. That's a loaded question because I've been thinking a lot about Tony Chini and, what Tony Chini's going to do next and everything. And I don't want to put everything out there yet as far as ideas that I have for what I'm going to be doing.
Of course.
I will say that I do have a lot of ideas and nothing's going to happen tomorrow. But at the same time, Tony Chini's just going to keep working hard and he's just going to keep doing shows and doing podcasts and getting himself out there and meeting people and trying to just do the best you can in the business and try to learn as much as you can to the business.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, I'll say this much, that I just want to be able to give back.
That's awesome.
That's great. All right. So before we get into the illustrious top 5, we have one more question that we ask all of our guests because we think it's a really important question and it makes you think a lot about, wrestling in general. So with that said, what does pro wrestling mean to you and what is the impact that it's had on your life?
Oh, man, pro wrestling, I mean, it really means everything to me. I mean, like just growing up, that was that big thing that I was able to escape to every single week. And, not a lot of people in school liked it. You know what I mean? Not everybody enjoyed it. I didn't have that same interest as everybody else. But, when you meet somebody else, like that's what makes wrestling so special is that like maybe not everybody likes it. But when you do meet another person that likes it, you instantly have a bond with that person.
Absolutely.
Because that's how strong professional wrestling is. And being able to now go out there, like recently, a couple weeks ago, me and my buddy Jack Martins, I don't know if you've seen him on GTS, me and him got to go out to a regional day school for a field day with special needs kids and just hang out and just do the obstacle courses with them and like stuff. And like to be able to do that, like that's what wrestling means to me. Like being able to get a smile on a kid's face and just like have them have that core moment, that core memory that they'll remember the rest of their lives. And that might impact them to love wrestling for the rest of their lives and have something to look forward to. You know what I mean? And that's what wrestling means to me. You know what I mean? Having something to look forward to every single day. And like, I mean, other than Francesco, it's my true love.
That's awesome. All right. Well, that was a fun time getting to learn a little bit about Tony Chini and the things that you're doing, and just get some insight into who you are and what you're doing in the world of wrestling. We're going to take a short break here, and when we get back, we will be back with our top 5.
Stay tuned. There it is. The claw, the top 5 claw. All right. We had teased it before with some games. We're going strictly wrestling games, top 5 wrestling games. So, Tony Chini, the floor is yours.
Cool. Right on. So, number 5, and I thought about this list. Like I said, I told you beforehand, this is not a top 5 list of games that I think are the best wrestling games out there on the market. These are my personal top 5 wrestling games. I want to make that clear to the fans before they get mad at me.
Right.
Especially for this first one. So number 5, Nacho Libre on.
Oh, wow.
Wrestling games ever. If you want to call it a wrestling game. I mean, it's technically a game based off of a movie of wrestling.
Right.
I mean, I love it. I don't know if I highly doubt you've ever played it.
I have not.
I don't blame you one bit. I literally have a sealed copy of it on my wall. I love this game. So what's it called? Basically, like, you go through like the movie and you do like different tasks. Like, you have to like throw the mango at Nacho. And, you have to climb and get the bird egg at the top of the mountain and stuff. But then you're also doing wrestling matches in between, and like you're doing fun stuff in the wrestling matches, like pulling their arms off, and like they they pop right back on, like silly stuff.
Right.
But it's fun. Like I because I did a lot of traveling for the wrestling coach, so like I needed games for my Nintendo DS and for my PSP, and I was like, oh, I don't know what to expect here. I finished the whole game on a flight, and I was like,
nice,
so awesome. I had so much fun playing it. Number four, I couldn't really decide between the two, so I put them both together in number 4. I hope you don't mind. Day of Reckoning 1 and 2.
Oh, those are such great. So for me, I'm a huge person on soundtracks. If a game has a good soundtrack, I'm in. Both of those games have amazing soundtracks.
Agreed 100%. Another just honorable mention for soundtrack, because it's not on my list, SmackDown vs. Raw, the first one.
Oh yeah,
great soundtrack. Love that soundtrack. But Day of Reckoning 1 and 2, I have like core memories of playing that at my Nana's house all the time, my grandmother. Going over there and just having a good time and playing that, and I put a lot of hours into that game, and that's just one of those games that like I just felt like the gameplay was a lot of fun, and I don't know how to explain it. It was just a lot of fun playing those games. And like you had some characters that weren't in like those mainstream WWE games, like Eugene and the Hurricane weren't really featured in like every single game. So like them in there, and like then they put the legends in the second one, like Hogan and Austin and Rock, Mankind. So yeah, I just have some really fun memories playing those games. So I wanted to put that on there. Number 3, I put SmackDown vs. Raw 2006.
Yeah, I have that one. And that one, was that the first one where then they added ECW?
No, that was 2000.
That was 7, right? Or 8? Okay.
Yeah, 2008 they added ECW. That was when they changed the controls and stuff. I still love 2008, and the soundtrack on that one's really good too. But just comparatively to 2006, like when that game came out, like I remember looking at the back and like showing my mom. I was like, look, it looks like Rey Mysterio's really there. You know what I mean?
Right.
I thought it was the thing in the world, and like I just remember putting so many hours playing that game, and like the creation suite was actually like decent at this point, and it was just like, man, like I just had some good time, and like the storyline. So this is why you might actually be confused about that, because the storyline of SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. Rob Van Dam brings back ECW.
Right. Okay. Yeah, you're right. I got you.
See where you thought of that. But Yeah, so technically ECW is a part of that game because they also have ECW One Night Stand as a playable arena in that game.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that game, and like because of that was another reason why I love it, because I love ECW. Cool story about that, just before I get into those other two, is like I actually saw Balls Mahoney at a show like right before ECW invaded Raw, and he told me as a kid, he was like, "Watch Raw, I'm gonna be on there soon."
Oh, geez.
Okay. And then couple weeks later, ECW invades. There's the guy I just met. So I was hooked because of that personal experience.
Right.
I was like ECW, like, you know what I mean? Right. So SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 definitely has to be on there. Number 2, and I wanted to put this number 1, but you'll understand why I didn't after this. SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. On there, SmackDown Here Comes the Pain is arguably one of the best wrestling video games ever made.
Yeah.
I mean, so much fun. First wrestling game I ever played. I can't even say I have put too many hours in that game because I still do.
Right.
That game, like I literally, if I wanted to, I could put it in right now and have the best time.
Oh, dude. That was one of those games for me that I wish they would bring back now, is when you hit a finisher, you hit a finisher.
Oh,
like they made it look and feel and seem impactful as hell.
Yeah.
And then they had those really quick like replays afterwards, just to emphasize that you did your finisher. I wish they would do that with some of the games now to really show the impact of your finisher. Because now I feel like we're in a world where all games you have to spam your finishers like 8 times just to get a pinfall.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it was a button mash kick out system. So like you really didn't know. Like, am I gonna kick out? Sometimes like I would do last man standing matches in that game were fun.
Oh dude. You
would never know when you would actually stay down, and like you'd be at the 9 count like 10 times, you know what I mean? Just stay down, you know. Man, that game was so much fun. Like you could do everything in that game: climb helicopters, climb buildings. It's just, and the storyline, the season mode, I can play over and over and over again. Like the season mode in that game is so much fun. It has so much different stories and avenues that you could take. And it was also the first game to introduce unlocking legends. Yeah. So that was really cool. George the Animal Steel was my dad's favorite wrestler, so that was that was really cool to have him in there. And my dad got to teach me about George the Animal Steel because of that, and see, I know him, and it was a nice bonding moment between me and my dad getting to play. Yeah. So that's always valuable. And number 1, gotta say it, gotta do it. I don't care. You can be mad at me. It doesn't matter. The wrestling code. The
wrestling code. I mean, of course. I mean, if you got to plug your own stuff, I get it.
Yes.
I absolutely get it.
I have to plug my own stuff, but I'm telling you right now, I'm making a guarantee that it's going to be the best wrestling video game you ever pick up and play once it's out, because we put so much time and effort into it. We've put our hearts and souls into it. I've put hours and hours and days and weeks of time into this game. Countless hours of traveling, overnight drives, horrible, really good and really bad hotel experience.
Right.
I mean, bad sushi experiences.
Oh no.
I've put a lot into this game. And at the end of the day, I'm going to have to put it as my number 1, because I've also, if we're going by games we've played, I've gotten to play it, you know what I mean? Because of the demo, I've gotten to play, other things of it. And I'm telling you, it's coming out so good. And I'm so proud of it. And I have to put it in that number 1 spot.
Completely
now,
understand.
is there any idea or inkling of when they plan to release it?
I unfortunately don't know.
Okay.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it or anything.
No, I figured I ask.
Yeah. Honestly, I wish I could tell you, you know what I mean? But the one thing I'll say is that it's worth the wait, and that, just trust the process. Like if Grand Theft Auto 6 was released 2 years ago, everybody would be really pissed off. But wanted it released for the last, 5-6 years. Yeah. You've been begging for it, but not you, but people in general have been begging for it. Now it's finally going to come out next year, but that's because they're ready. And guess what? Yeah. You're going to buy it anyway, even if you were mad that it didn't come out 3 years ago. Now it's going to be a good game, and you're going to play it, and it's going to be a complete game. So just trust the process, just like you did with this game. And when the wrestling code finally does come out, know that you're going to be playing a game that a lot of time was put into, and that it's just going to be awesome.
So a couple things, a great top 5. Absolutely. With what you've been talking to us about and telling us about, super excited for the Wrestling Code. I think it's going to be great. When the Wrestling Code is ready to come out, when it is getting time for it to release, we will have you back on, and we'll do a whole special about the Wrestling Code. We're going to have you back on at some point to just talk wrestling video games, because you are the absolute wealth of knowledge, and there's a lot of stuff to get into as far as wrestling video games. So we'll definitely have to have you back on again.
A lot of Wrestling Code stories that I didn't get to tell this time around.
Even better.
Very cool. Well, yeah. So as far as your top 5 goes, you did a couple things that you hit on, talking about games like Day of Reckoning. And back then it wasn't about the graphics, and it was about having fun and playing a wrestling video game and having fun. So I like seeing that you had those on your list. And then the other thing, you guys were talking about wrestling soundtracks, and the one thing I miss, and I wish there was a way to bring this back in the day. On the Xbox, you could rip CDs to the Xbox and have your own music on there. And then the WWE games allowed you to put your music in there for your created wrestlers. And I thought,
great too.
Yeah. I mean, that's an incredible feature. And that's something I definitely miss in wrestling video games.
Yeah, I miss that too. I wish that I could be able to put like my own custom theme in the game. You know what I mean? Like
I would go out there, painstakingly make my own theme just to put it into the game.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
Definitely something I miss.
You guys should have an Opinion City podcast theme anyway.
Now that you mentioned that, we have
the Mystery Men.
Yes, we have there was a band called the Mystery Men, and they were all masked luchadors that played in a band together, and we happened to know one of them. And
Pennsylvania?
New Jersey.
I know one of them because I think one of them trained with me at the Wrestle Factory for a little bit.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because he mentioned that he was in a band, and then he learned some wrestling stuff for his band, because his band was a luchador band. I can't remember right now. It's probably the same guy, but yeah, I hope they're doing well, because I always thought that was a cool thing.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the band is no longer together. However, disappointing. However, they have said, hey, our music is out there, please use it. So we're on our second theme song for this show, because we did a little bit of a redesign after episode 50, and then we have our other show, Wrestling with Life. So we've actually used 3 of their songs for theme music for our show. So we do have our own little themes that we've gotten.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. And it's cool that they're cool with you guys using it. They're like, we're not playing, just use it, put it out there, make sure we don't that our music doesn't fall behind.
Make sure that we're not forgotten.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I got to say, your whole setup here is really professional and really awesome. I really appreciate you guys having me on and giving me the time to speak about all this. And
of course.
I just appreciate the conversation. I appreciate it.
Of course. Absolutely. Yeah. That's what we're here to do.
Yeah, we were super excited to have you on. I know Sean has been excited about it for a while, and from my end of things, being able to talk to a wrestler who's also so rooted in the video game world, because wrestling video games has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember, all the way back to WrestleMania on Nintendo, or NES Pro Wrestling, where you're like Starman and all that crazy stuff. So it was really great being able to talk about that stuff as well. So yeah, it was very cool having you on. Before we get out of here, let's get into some upcoming events.
Oh, yes. Perfect. All right.
I'm so sorry that we cut you off. Sorry that we cut you off.
As you'll notice, we practically have videos for everything on this show. So we may have forgot to mention that we had a little video for that. So I hope you didn't get through all of your upcoming events before you realized what was going on.
I didn't even.
That's a moment.
I saw it come up, and I was like, "Oh shoot, here we go."
See, Now there you go. Shenanigans.
There was your one shenan right there. There was your one shenan.
The one shenan. All right, so
that was a very well played shenanigan. You got me on that one. Just imagining I'm about to start talking and it just says the end.
Right. Got it.
No, we're not that bad.
We're not that bad.
We would not do that.
Oh. Yeah, right. Thanks for watching. Cut.
Yeah. Oh boy.
All right. So what do you got coming up down the pipeline there, sir?
All right. So this Saturday coming up, May 18th, I got UWC, United Wrestling Coalition. I'm the world champion there.
Hey.
I should be defending my championship against Joey Angelo, my Royal Familia tag team partner who turned on me at the last.
Boo.
Boo.
You guys want to see the Royal backstabbing get avenged? Then
Yes.
New Egypt, New Jersey, May 18th. But if you can't make it to New Egypt, New Jersey, May 18th, and you're a little bit closer to Williamstown, New Jersey, May 18th, I'm also going to be at Assault Championship Wrestling with Francesca in mixed tag team action.
Oh.
And Society, Eric Black and Raina Black. And we should definitely see how that goes. On top of that, the following week, Mid-Atlantic Wrestling Alliance, I'm going for their heavyweight championship.
Oh, man.
Flex Confidence. At the last show, I saw Flex Confidence win the title. He seems like he's going to be a really good champion, but unfortunately, he's going to have a short run because he's running into Tony Chini.
Oh.
It's going to be in Summerdale, New Jersey. If you guys could make it out, that would be awesome. And then last but not least, at least for May 31st, I got Funhouse Wrestling. That's always fun to be there. I'm actually facing Eric X Black in a singles match at that show.
Ooh.
So that should be fun, especially since we're going to be wrestling, in tag team action just a couple weeks prior. That's going to be in Avenel, New Jersey, and you could also catch Francesca teaming with Raina Black.
Ooh.
A team called Dangerous But Fun. So I don't really know much about Dangerous But Fun. I do know that Gabby Gilbert is in that team.
Okay.
And Gabby Gilbert has been around the independent scene for years and years and years. She's a grizzled veteran when it comes. So it should be a really good set of matches coming up.
Hell yeah.
Wow. You're quite the busy one there. I gotta say, man, you got a lot packed in.
I'm trying. I try.
That's awesome. So Sean, we have a few things coming up.
Yes, we do.
All right. So first off, tomorrow, if you are a Patreon of ours, you will be seeing our brand new Wrestling with Life episode with commentator Scott Holiday. If you are a fan of any sort of pro wrestling in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, up and down the East Coast, I'm sure you've heard of Scott Holiday, or you have heard his dulcet tones calling the wrestling action. So that is for Patreon members tomorrow night, and then that debuts on our YouTube channel Friday night. And of course, next week, our show, we have Crummels and Defarge.
Oh yeah.
This is a very fun interview. You guys are really going to enjoy this one. Crummels and Defarge are great guys, so you will really enjoy that one. And while you're waiting for next week's episode, if you have not seen it yet, go back and check out our special 1-year anniversary episode 53 with special guest John Alba from the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy podcast. You can see him on SNY TV. You can see him on Fight TV covering MMA, wrestling. I believe he covers stuff for Fightful. This guy is crazy everywhere. So you can go back and check that out while you're waiting for next week's episode.
Indeed.
And with that, looks like we're at the end of the show here. So, Tony, we want to thank you for your time today. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. You are always welcome on the show. And like I said, once we hear a little more about when the wrestling code's coming out, we'll be sure to have you back and
for sure
chat all about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. And again, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you letting me put all my stuff out there and let me get off track sometimes. And,
of course.
I'm just trying to have some fun, man. Just trying to have a good time, and everybody should be doing that, man.
Always
isn't very long. You just got to have fun and just have a good time and just live it day by day. And I just appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity today. And just one more time to all the mothers listening right now, Happy Mother's Day. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day.
Yeah.
Fools! I pity the fool that don't say Happy Mother's Day to your mother. Oh, look!
Yay! A special appearance.
That's awesome. All right, man. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for your time. You want to hang around? We'll be with you in a few moments here. We're going to wrap this up.
Right on.
All right. Well,
right.
Sean, that was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
That was awesome.
That was a good time.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah. Like today's episode. It was a lot of fun. And I like that he ended the show talking about like having fun, because that's what we're all about here.
Yeah, we're all about having
fun. So guys, it has been a great episode. Definitely follow Tony Chini online. Follow Virtual Basement so you can check out all the wrestling code stuff.
Yes.
Keep an eye on everything they're doing. It looks like it's going to be an amazing game.
Amazing.
I'm always excited to try wrestling games that aren't like the WWE games, because you never know what you're going to get. You never know, and you get to play as all kinds of different people.
This roster is ridiculous.
The roster looks amazing. Yeah. So I'm super excited, and so definitely make sure you're following all of those. Make sure you're following us on socials so you can see everything that we're doing. Like, subscribe, and share on our YouTube channel. And with that, Sean, I think that's going to do it for us for this week. And we will see you guys next week for episode 55 with Crumbles and Defarge.
This is also Ann here. You're listening to Opinion City Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
Happy trails to you till we meet again.
Okay, thanks for watching this presentation. Like, share, and subscribe for more.